story. Once upon a time, a man got fucked. Now, how is that for a story? Because that's the story of black people in America. Shit, you all don't know you black yet. You think you just people. Let me be the first to tell you that you are all black. The moment these Dutch motherfuckers set foot here and decided they white, and you get to be black, and that's the nice name they call you, let me paint a picture of what's waiting for you on the shore. You arrive in America, land of opportunity, milk and honey, and guess what? You all get to be slaves, split up, sold off, and worked to death. The lucky ones get Sunday off to sleep and fuck and make more slaves and all for what? For cotton, indigo, for a fucking purple shirt. The only good news is the tobacco your grandkids are gonna farm for free is gonna give a shitload of these white motherfuckers cancer. And I ain't even started yet. 100 years later, you're fucked. 100 years after that, fucked. 100 years after you get free, you still getting fucked out of job and shot at by police. You see what I'm saying? This guy gets it. I like him. He's getting angry. Angry is good. Angry gets shit done.
Hello, fam. I would like to have a real serious conversation about the ridiculousness of this Black diaspora war. Over the last several years, I've noticed that Black people have been going at each other online and on social media over these small differences, these small petty grievances.
So my thing is, Mr. Tariq, is that what you're doing, like I said, I respect it, but then again, it's sort of like you're segregating other, you call us tethers.
No, I don't. No, stop. No, you're not a tether because you're an immigrant. No. Because you're an immigrant. The tether is somebody who's doing something. A tether is a name that we put on things that's action-based. That's a person who's trying to undermine us in some way. Somebody who's trying to undermine, denigrate, or sabotage us. That's tether. But you just being a non-FBA, you're not a tether because of that.
No, and like I said, I completely respect it. But my only main issue is the conflict that is causing between like Caribbeans and Africans in America. You know, and you know that it is causing, and I've watched your page as well. Like you would come at a few Africans and Caribbeans as well.
But y'all know that the conflict ain't because of foundational Black Americans. See, that's the thing. See, that's the game that people like to play. The conflict ain't from us. We're getting some straightening. We're straightening things out. The conflict has always come from the non-FBA people. And the conflict is one-sided. We've been the ones helping you. Nobody has helped us. We've not received any help from any non-FBA people. And not only that, the conflict comes from people coming over here, and we elevate them and we bring them in our circles, and they secretly work against us. And that's a problem. We have Caribbeans and Africans who come over here and we're on some, hey, brother, kumbaya, we all the same. And then y'all get over here, y'all start forming your little enclaves where you bring your folks in, y'all get little job positions where you bring only your fellow Caribbeans in or your fellow Africans in. y'all get in these political positions, then you start doing little things for your fellow Caribbeans. And then when we say as foundational Black Americans, hey, we kind of need something over here, they have these non-FBA people who are gatekeeping resources we're supposed to get. And now we start getting the Obamas, who's non-FBA, the Kamalas, who's non-FBA, a whole bunch of people on the Congressional Black Caucus who's not FBA, who will sit up here and do things for their fellow immigrants. And then when we say, hey, where's the stuff for us? We get a bunch of damn splaining. That's where the problem has been for the last 30, 40 years now. So it ain't us. We should have been getting this stuff straight a long time ago, and we're getting it straight now. We're not letting people come over here who's not from our lineage and misrepresent us. Those days are over. So if they think it's a conflict, you damn right it's a conflict.
So I just have a question for you. Can you tell me what country an FBA has run before?
Okay, you that moist dude from Nigeria, right?
I'm half Nigerian. I'm just asking what country has what country does foundational Black Americans run?
Well, we're under a global system of white supremacy, so Black people don't run any nations, but we don't run nations in the ground like tethers like yourself do, though. You run nations in the ground.
No, well, at least half of my ancestry, we actually have a lot of power. So, no.
Not you. No, not you. You're a victim. No, you're a victim of the white supremacists. You don't have any power. You don't have, you're trying to claim the power of the white people in your family?
Well, I am an American citizen, and I am a citizen.
You're a tether.
Yeah, Israel too.
Because you failed. You were failed tether.
No, well.
Yeah, you were failed tether.
Okay,
No, because you can't say nothing about it. The only reason you had to come here, you couldn't go to Israel. You couldn't do anything in Nigeria. So you had to come up under foundational Black Americans because we made a lane for you to bring you and your dripping bussy over here to live good, sir.
To understand is that we are one. You need us more than we need you.
You need to get on out of here with all that now and keep that same energy for the people who are colonizing Africa right now. Black Americans don't come to Africa bothering you, but you fix your mouth to come to America to bother the people who fought for their liberation. They're the ones who cleared the path so you could come here in the first place. They didn't flee their country like you fled yours. Nah, we don't need you. Our legacy was built in America by our American ancestors as well.
Black Americans people, I don't like them. Because they take lots of drugs. They do fucking job. I don't like them.
They do what?
They fuck a lot. I don't like them.
And Rwandans don't fuck.
They don't like it.
But I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
But have you met any Black Americans in real life?
No, like in the movies. I didn't meet them, one of them.
Okay, but how do you know that the movie is telling you the truth?
Like the movies, likely they play the real life stories.
What do you think about the Black American culture?
Fucked up. I'm sorry. Is it like okay, the fucked up humanity group that's Black Americans, yeah. And I actually feel bad for saying that. It's true, I know it's true.
Now, why do you believe that?
Because they mostly don't belong where they are. They're Americans. We all know they're Americans. They know they're Americans, but they don't belong there because they are minor. One for that, they are minor, and the racism and everything. They don't belong there actually. So they belong here, and they are not here. So they are fucked up.
Okay. So you think Black Americans should return to Africa?
They shouldn't. That would be bad. That would be bad. That would be the end of Africa.
Okay. What do you think about Black Americans girl?
Or the Black American girls, what I think about, they are hot. Yeah, they're hot. They got some good vibes, and they are sluts as well.
You like them?
A little bit. I can't say I dislike them, but how can I say it? They are good. They're good. They got some good vibes.
You like them?
Yeah.
Admit it.
Yeah, I like them. I like them.
Will you marry one of the Black American girls? Why? You like them, but you can't marry them?
No, to like them is the different from loving them. Yeah. I can maybe stay with them, do some drugs, and do a lot of things with them, but I can't take like a Black American as my wife. No, I can't do that.
Why? Why?
Because I don't like their culture. They have been injected with a lot of things, like they think themselves as queens. That's the first ones, and the second ones, I don't like how they let themselves 10 to 10 everyone, even if it's like the ugliest one, who will let herself 10 out of 10. Yeah.
If you had to pick between a Black American and a white American, which one would you pick?
I think I'm going to choose a white American, not a Black American.
Why?
Because I fear them.
You fear Black Americans?
Yes.
Why?
Because I used to watch movies and I don't have a good mind of them.
Okay. So what did you see in the movies that made you scared of Black Americans?
They cheat a lot.
But Senegalese men have like 5 wives. Is that not the same?
True Black Africans and African Americans do not claim Black Americans. We are not the same. African tends to focus on progress, family values, and community upliftment, rather than dwelling on historical grievances. They prioritize education and hard work. They don't live life blaming the white man for all their failures, challenges, or the choices that they make. Many Africans strive to give their children better opportunities and instill values like hard work and responsibilities. They don't raise their kids to hate the white man and blame them for all of their problems. That's why they can't grow. Africans are hard workers and they work on self-improvement. They hold themselves accountable for their actions instead of making everything about race and blaming the system.
First of all, who died and told this African teller that we need somebody to claim us? Who did that? Who did that? Girl, let me hold your hand with a sponge between us, because I don't want to touch your hand, and let you know, bitch, we don't need y'all to claim us. For what? What the fuck that's gonna do for us? What will it do for us? What have you done for us to need, I wish they claim us? Girl, bye. Let me tell you something. Why is this I'm better than you call never coming from inside your country? Why is it always coming from outside the country? Why does this hard work and excellence never thrive in your own country? You always gotta flee outside of your own country like a coward, and then start talking about I'm hard working, I'm excellent. Why does this hard work and this excellence never show up in your own damn country? That's what I want to know. Africa got what, about 55 countries? All of them ain't shit. Ain't neither one of them got 24/7, 365 electricity. Let's start there. Ain't now one of them got 24/7, 365 clean running water coming through the homes. Neither country. Neither damn one. So where's all this excellence and all this hard work at? Ain't nothing a fleeing coward ass teller can tell me about FBA. And then you got them folks in your comments telling you, oh yeah, you guys are totally different, 100% different. I like you guys. You guys are the good black people. I say, if white people bend their ass over and tell Africans, lick my ass, Africans will say, for how long? Do you hear me? Ain't shit An African fleeing coward ass teller gonna tell me, girl, stay out of our business, mind the business that pays you, and worry about your own damn country, your own damn people, because you got enough shit to be worried about. Trust me. We don't claim them. Girl, get the fuck out of here. Bye. Just give you a little piece of advice. The whole world is set up on a white supremacy caste system, and it goes from lightest to darkest. Lightest at the top, the darkest at the bottom. It will always be like that. There's no amount of ass licking and ass kissing and boot licking and boot kissing that will ever change that. So good luck. I hope you get picked.
And I'm here to let you know ultimately that it doesn't even really matter. For example, Ibrahim Traore stands as a beacon of resistance against white foreign domination. When he and his brave soldiers of Burkina Faso rose up, they rejected the old chains of white colonial influence and imperial interference. His leadership exemplifies that revolutionary spirit. He's not only fighting for his people's sovereignty, he's embodying the fight for African independence and dignity. His defiance against those who seek to exploit the African continent reminds us that we all have the power to determine our own future. And just like they've done with most African leaders who wanted to be independent and have modern nations, they either try to remove them, push a negative propaganda campaign, or assassinate them entirely. So far, that's exactly what they've tried to do to him. Why? Because he's black. That's it. Just because he's black.
Because in Nigeria, I didn't think of myself as black, because nobody thinks of themselves as black in Nigeria. We have many problems, but race is not one of them, because I guess most people in Nigeria are black. In many West African countries, we don't have race as an identifying part of us. So when I went to the US, all I had thought of myself was a Catholic and Igbo. And Nigerian, of course. But then in the US, people would just say things to me about being black, and I would think, I don't even know what that means. But most of all, it was that I started to learn that black wasn't a value-free idea. That to be called black was that people made assumptions about you. There was a professor who was surprised that I wrote the best essay in class. And I realized that he was surprised because he didn't expect a black person to write the best essay. And so for me, it was a learning process. Of course, now I very much identify as black. And I've also come to learn about African American history and to deeply admire that history is a history of African Americans who are very resilient, who have systematically and consistently been undermined by the American state, and who continue to thrive. And I think that African American history is under-celebrated.
And this is why I don't embrace this separation thing when it comes to the black people in the diaspora, or participate in the very self-defeating world of this diaspora war. Because if you live in America, you are treated differently and can exercise your rights as a white person would be able to. And if you are a black person in the diaspora outside of the United States, you are considered to be living in an S-hole nation. Now let's take our gaze to Haiti, our sister nation, the first black republic and a symbol of revolutionary resilience.
Now those black Haitians, they had beat the hell out of British. It beat the hell out of France. Then here comes Spain. Spain was trying to hold part of it. That's why the other half of Haiti was dominated by who? By the Spaniards. And they got another name for that country. What do they call that down there? The other half over the mountain and on the Haitian on Haiti Island. What is that called?
You mean the Dominican Republic?
That's right. See that took on the Spanish name, and that's how that got separated, because Spain was also trying to fight and control Haiti. And then guess what? Toussaint beat the hell out of the Spanish then. So now he took the little poor blacks down there and beat the hell out of three nations, and scared the hell out of the Americans. Now here the Americans up here now on the East Coast got hold of these blacks as enslavement from the East Coast out to Mississippi. They got petrified to say these Negroes are going crazy down in Haiti.
Mention Haiti, and this is what you'll likely hear.
Poverty, natural disaster, now political violence.
Every report about Haiti has to include the line that it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere.
But hold on for a second. Something's missing in this conversation, right?
We need to be all thinking about the relationship of what we're calling poverty in Haiti and the relation to the richness of the rest of the world. And how did the rest of the world get so rich?
Let's start with France. Imagine if you were enslaved, and after fighting for your independence, you were forced to spend the next couple of generations paying compensation to those who colonized you.
Reparations for slaveholders is a new one for me.
That is exactly what happened to Haiti.
This is punishment for their unwillingness to remain under the yoke of slavery.
In 1697, France and Spain ended a war with each other by dividing up the Spanish colony Hispaniola. Through the labor of enslaved indigenous and black people, Saint-Domingue became the world's most profitable colony, exporting sugar, coffee, and indigo. Self-liberated Africans led the Haitian Revolution and ended slavery in present-day Haiti and the Dominican Republic. After 12 years of fighting the French colonial power, which had tried to reintroduce slavery, the formerly enslaved people of Saint-Domingue officially declared their independence and renamed their country Haiti. Many countries, including the United States, refused to recognize Haitian independence in fear of slave rebellions. And France refused to accept Haiti's independence unless Haiti paid 150 million francs as so-called compensation for lost revenues from slavery. That was around 10 times Haiti's annual budget. But Haiti couldn't decline the indemnity request since the French came ready for war, carrying more than 500 cannons on their ships. Articles from that period show that the French king knew the Haitian government wouldn't be able to repay the debt, which decimated Haiti's economy. Haitians had extremely high taxes, and most of the tax revenue was paid for the indemnity. This left the education system, public infrastructures, and healthcare underdeveloped. Agricultural land was also depleted to grow cash crops that paid for the debt but couldn't feed the country. It took Haiti 122 years to pay off its debt and required taking high-interest loans.
The only way that that could ever even have a fruitful outcome would be if it was because they were in dialogue with the Haitian people for the first time, because that is not what usually happens. That's not what happens at all. They dialogue with the people claiming power, and some negotiation is struck between those vying for power and the United States government. There's a lot of people saying, no, we don't want the United States to come and intervene again, because this is, again, a repetition of history.
The history that Professor Doubt is talking about involves the United States' 19-year occupation of Haiti, an occupation that killed thousands of Haitians. Following the assassination of Haiti's president in 1915, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson's administration invaded Haiti to protect U.S. investments. Then, they forced the election of a new Haitian president who would protect American interests in the country. Racist and fear-mongering rhetoric was used to justify the move. The occupation ensured that the U.S. prioritized its own interests in Haiti over what was best for Haitians. The U.S. occupation ended in 1934 after local dissent and rebellion grew too costly for the U.S. to control. But even after the occupation, the United States continued to play a role in the internal affairs of Haiti. In 1957, the U.S. government threw its support behind a Haitian dictator, François Duvalier. Duvalier and his successor, aka his son Jean-Claude, ate up aid from the United States in exchange for their strong anti-communist stand at the height of the Cold War. Haitian uprisings ended Duvalier Jr.'s rule and led to Haiti choosing its democratically elected leader, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, in 1990. But within a year, Aristide's government was toppled by a coup. Not only was one of the leaders of the coup on the CIA's payroll, but the US had set up and funded the Haitian military and National Intelligence Service, which both played key roles in the coup. Ousted Aristide returned to his second presidency in 2001, and again was forced out of office by a coup that he claimed the US had orchestrated. And after that, President Obama's cabinet pressured a Haitian presidential candidate to withdraw in 2010.
For over a century, white Western powers, especially the United States, have continuously undermined Haiti's sovereignty. From the brutal occupation from 1915 to 1934, the economic embargoes, debt manipulations, and interference in political processes, Haiti has been weaponized and weakened by foreign interest. These actions have stunted Haiti's development, impoverished its people, and kept it under the thumb of white colonial influence disguised as aid or support. Now, Jamaica and other Caribbean islands have also felt the heavy hand of the Western dominance, be it through political meddling, economic policies, or military excursions. I remember how the U.S. and the European powers have historically targeted our Caribbean brothers and sisters seeking to control their resources and destabilize their governments, all to maintain a white Western-centric world order. Our Jamaican brothers and sisters should be the ones owning those cruise ships and resorts, but instead they are merely relegated to being low-wage employees with limited access to their own beaches, which is absolutely ridiculous.
We should be able to use our beaches. We are a beach community. We are beach people. We're a small island surrounded by water.
Jamaicans can no longer access their own beaches.
This is where they work. Say they don't have a other job. They don't have nothing else to turn to.
Tourists can pay for exclusive access to beaches at all-inclusive resorts, but everyday Jamaicans are increasingly being blocked out of them.
When you push a fisherman from a beach, where did you want him to go? We are living in between waters, and we have no access to a beach.
Some Jamaicans are organizing to take down the colonial-era land laws that still affect them today.
Jamaican came into emancipation landless and homeless, and that problem have not changed in Jamaica. We want the decolonization of this land, and all these colonial-era laws must go. They no longer represent the ideals of the descendants of enslaved Africans.
Black Jamaicans still face systemic inequalities rooted in British colonialism. Jamaica was a center of the Caribbean slave trade. The British government granted enslaved Africans emancipation in 1838, but they didn't receive any reparations or land. Instead, it was slave owners who were provided reparations for their economic loss. Voting rights were originally tied to property ownership, and so landless Jamaicans couldn't vote until 1944. It's estimated that nearly 20% of the country's population still lives in informal settlements without land titles.
The moneyed class buy all the properties along the coastline. They're allowed to fence their property. Now we're in a crisis situation. It's easily 35, 40 degrees today. My community that lives across from the road, less than 0.3 miles, cannot go to the beach. Tourists is monopolized. Comes off a plane, get into a bus, get onto a resort, never leave the resort. So money that would have spent in communities, no longer. It stays into multinational corporation that then leaves Jamaica.
The Caribbean is the most tourism-dependent region in the world. But according to the UN, approximately 80% of all tourism dollars spent in the Caribbean end up leaving the region. This has been experienced firsthand by Shaneka Taylor, who sells souvenirs and food on the beach of one of these resorts at Cooper's Pen.
Yesterday, there are 26 of them in the group. Yesterday, they take them out to shop outside of the hotel. They spent over $1,000 US getting t-shirts, clothing. So they said that they did not know about us here on the beach. They don't tell the tourists about us because the hotel have their own gift shops.
Shaneka and her fellow vendors set up makeshift stalls in front of the construction site of a new resort. But once the resort is built, they will likely have nowhere to sell. The construction already cut off local fisherfolk's access to the beach.
After the hotel is finished, I'm not sure what is going to take place. So we're going to have to move, and we don't know where to. We don't have a spot to put up our shops. We don't have nothing. So this is all going to have to pull down.
The tourism industry makes up approximately 20% of the country's GDP. But the Minister of Tourism has also acknowledged that the sector is known for low-paid, low-skilled jobs that provide little economic security. Access to tourists is often limited for Jamaicans like Shaneka, who sell food and souvenirs to make a living.
So the rules are 2 persons on the beach at a time, 20 minutes apiece. We're not supposed to go to the tourists where they're sitting. We have to stay at a distance. We have to call them to come to us. And sometimes they tell us we have to go in the water to walk. Makes us feel sad sometimes because we are not going to harm the guests.
I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in the way they do is because this was taught to us by white America. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay.
Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work. And when they came here, the white farm owners and those agricultural people told them and ingrained in them that the reason that they have to come to work is because African Americans don't want a job, right? They went back home and they carried the same message and told the people there. And so this is a trope that has been passed on for decades and decades, year after year, as more and more come. That is what they carry because that's what they have been told. Now, when you come and you live amongst African Americans, and if you really look into the history and look at the systemic racism, you'll know that that is not true. But then you also realize how difficult it is when someone grew up and was taught a certain kind of saying or a certain kind of belief. It's very difficult to get it out of them. So I know that it is not true. I know that it's because people want decent wages for the work that they do. But yeah, it is absolutely true that a lot of Caribbean people, Jamaicans included, and other diaspora people have bought into this trope that African Americans are lazy.
Now, usually when I have a conversation about Black empowerment and Black leadership, what I normally get is pushback from the white supremacists and their Black tap dancing coons. They will say things like, hey, Black leadership is a bad thing, whether it be in the Caribbean or whether it be in Africa. Those Black leaders don't care anything about their people. Is that so? Well, normally I just go ahead and just delete their comments in the comment section because frankly, it's hard to have a honest discussion with completely ignorant and foolish people. But, I just ignore them. You know what? All right, let's do this.
5 wonderful things Gaddafi did for the Libyans that you don't know. First, Gaddafi ensured free education for all Libyans. He established a robust education system, giving everyone the chance to pursue their dreams. Second, Gaddafi prioritized healthcare for his people. He built state-of-the-art medical facilities, providing accessible and quality healthcare for all. Third, Gaddafi transformed Libya into an economic powerhouse. He invested in infrastructure and industries, creating jobs and boosting the country's economy. Fourth, Gaddafi championed women's rights. He empowered women, granting them equal opportunities and representation. Fifth, Gaddafi united the Libyan people. He fostered national unity, promoting peace and harmony among diverse communities.
He ruled Libya with an iron fist, and now many wish he was still alive. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya's leader for 42 years. He crushed opposition, but under his rule, Libya was stable, safe, one of Africa's richest nations. Then came 2011, the Arab Spring. Protests erupted. Rebels took up arms, but they weren't alone. NATO and the US launched airstrikes. They said they were saving Libya. Instead, they destroyed it. Gaddafi was captured and brutally executed. The West called it a victory. But was it? With Gaddafi gone, Libya collapsed. Civil war, terrorist groups, slave markets. The country is now a failed state.
If we're going to have this discussion, we can't forget Muammar Gaddafi, a man who, despite Western narratives, sought to uplift his nation, Liberia. Now, his efforts to distribute wealth among Africans to promote Pan-African unity and build self-sufficient systems represent a challenge to the Western dominance. Yet Gaddafi was targeted because his vision threatened the imperialist agenda. Gaddafi was indeed advocating for the creation of a unified African currency. He envisioned a Pan-African monetary system that would reduce Africa's dependence on Western-controlled currencies and institutions. He believed that a single African currency could foster economic independence, enhance regional integration, and provide Africa with greater control over its financial resources. This healthcare system saw considerable enhancements, including the construction of hospitals, clinics, and medical facilities across Libya. Free healthcare services were provided to all citizens, which contribute to improved health outcomes and improved life expectancy. His regime expanded access to education at all levels. The government established numerous schools, technical colleges, and universities aiming to make education accessible to a broader population. Literacy campaigns and reforms were implemented to raise literacy rates and improve enrollment, especially among women and marginalized groups. Speaking of literacy rates, they improved remarkably during his rule. And the government launched nationwide literacy campaigns, particularly targeting adults and women to eradicate illiteracy. These efforts severely reduced illiteracy rates in Libya over the decades. What I'm demonstrating is a pattern here. Those black leaders who seek true independence and to improve their nations are often demonized or attacked. And just because the attack dog has a black face, it doesn't mean that he's not following the command or marching orders of his white masters.
Today, the government of Libya announced the death of Muammar Gaddafi. This marks the end of a long and painful chapter for the people of Libya, who now have the opportunity to determine their own destiny in a new and democratic Libya. For 4 decades, the Gaddafi regime ruled the Libyan people with an iron fist. Basic human rights were denied, innocent civilians were detained, beaten, and killed, and Libya's wealth was squandered. The enormous potential of the Libyan people was held back, and terror was used as a political weapon. Today, we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end. So this is a momentous day in the history of Libya. The dark shadow of tyranny has been lifted, and with this enormous promise, the Libyan people now have a great responsibility to build an inclusive and tolerant and democratic Libya that stands as the ultimate rebuke to Gaddafi's dictatorship.
Now that our son, Barack Obama, Baraka, blessing, we would like to greet the American people who voted for their son, Mr. Barack Obama. And I think that is a significant change. He is our son, he's from Africa, from an African descent, and he is an American, and I'm sure that he will work for the good of America as an American president, but at the same time, he'll be gaining the friendship of the Arabs and the friendship of Libya for the common interests of those peoples and the United States. I really endorse and support the policies that he has adopted so far.
One of the biggest hurdles African nations face in their fight for true independence is the grip of the International Monetary Fund, or IMF. The IMF's policies are designed to serve imperialist interests, often imposing privatization and structural adjustment programs that weaken local economies and to deepen poverty. Countries like Zimbabwe, Ghana, and others have faced devastating conditions under these imposed economic programs, losing control over their resources and decision-making. These policies perpetuate dependencies, hinder development, and maintain white Western influence under the guise of aid. You see, true independence means resisting the pressure to surrender Black independence to these international financial institutions and building economies rooted in self-reliance and African-led development. Now, I want to speak directly to my brothers and sisters, Black Americans, Black Africans, Black Caribbeans, and all of the Black people around the world. Sometimes we can fall into the trap of separating ourselves, thinking our struggles are different or somehow that we separate from the rest of the diaspora is a good thing.
Great. All this talk of illegal migration in Europe, in the United States, it ultimately comes down to a contest of what is governance. Who is governed? Which countries are governed well? And if so many of these countries around the world are incapable of governing themselves, then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You can say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually
All right, hold on
making
a
their
second.
country
Hold
a
on.
better
People on the left
land.
are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Eric Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes. Enough. Because if you go to these countries and you see how they suffer under absolutely corrupt, made-up governments that are just criminal syndicates.
Made-up governments.
The people of Africa.
But we have to understand that white supremacy doesn't care about borders, nationality, or our religion. To them, if you're black, you're black. You're just a stupid Negro to them, no matter your background. So trying to cozy up or to gain closeness to whiteness is an uneducated feudal enterprise. Their system of oppression sees no difference whether we're in Africa, the Caribbean, or America. They target us all, and their goal is to divide us so that we can't stand united. So brothers and sisters around the globe should not be at odds with each other. You see, when we fight among ourselves, the real enemy, white supremacy, imperialism, and systematic oppression, continues to grow stronger. Don't think that these people are not sitting back and salivating at this silly black diaspora war. We share the same common enemy, and they have no problem exploiting and oppressing us all, regardless where we were born or what religion we follow. Our true strength lies in unity. And when we come together, whether it's in the streets of Brooklyn or the villages of Africa, we become completely unstoppable. We must realize that our liberation is bound together, and our true power is in our solidarity.
So I've been seeing the debate between African Americans and African immigrants in terms of the experience, in terms of, African immigrants may be coming off as they're better than and things like that. And I just wanted to share my experience because I am Ghanaian American. My parents immigrated here, and I can share my experience growing up in this country. The stuff that I watched, the things I was inspired by, the people that I talked to, the people that are around me were African Americans. And to be honest with you, the African Americans embraced me. All of my friends to this day are mostly African Americans. And of course I was teased, African booty scratcher, things that kids say. But to be honest with you, my experience with African Americans has been very loving, and they embraced me. I remember when I was younger and some people would tease me, they would come to my defense and support me. And I just want to say on this topic that first of all, African immigrants coming to this country is a privilege. So we have to acknowledge that it is a privilege, not a right. Number two, the African experience and the immigrant experience is different. And we do have to acknowledge that. African immigrants typically came here by choice, and the African Americans right here did not come by choice. They were forced to come here. So we have to acknowledge that. But to be honest with you, my take on it is we are stronger together than divided. And I really hate to see the debate going back and forth because we can really learn from each other. And at the end of the day, we are one. And I feel like both sides just need to stop this back and forth because that's what they want us to do. And I just feel like there is such an opportunity for us to learn about each other, acknowledge each other's experience, and just continue to support each other because, like I said, we're stronger than divided. And we both have great attributes, great characteristics that we can share with each other. And I just hate to see the debate back and forth. But again, someone who comes from an immigrant family can speak to the fact that when I was growing up, they embraced me. Of course, again, you get teased, but it wasn't anything personal. It's just what kids do. And I don't think it's something that we should be debating about. We should actually be trying to band together to make a better future for ourselves and empower ourselves.